Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Foundation Friday. This week we have our very own Alicia Alverson, who's going to be sharing with us some techniques on how to build a community using your sphere of influence. Alicia, take it away.
Thank you very much for having me, and I'm excited about this presentation and to talk to everyone about my journey. I wasn't really sure how I was going to put this together, but I decided I would just share where I started from and how I got to where I am now. So a little introduction about me. So I'm married to a retired U.S. Air Force veteran, and we have a son. His name is Odin. He just graduated from college, and he has an accounting degree, and we're super proud of him. He's doing an internship right now. I have lots of nieces and nephews, and then we have 2 chocolate labs. If you follow me on social media, you know they run our lives, so they're always with us. I got my real estate license in 2014, so I just renewed in January. So I renewed, and so I've been in for 10 years. Prior to real estate, I spent a little over 10 years in the home improvement industry. I was a store manager for Lowe's and Home Depot. And it gave me some background on how houses work, and just little things about housing. And then in 2013, my wife retired.
I need to make a withdrawal, but I don't have a.
So in 2013, my wife retired from the Air Force, and we moved across the country. And at that time, I decided to get out of the home improvement industry, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. So I kind of started to revisit my purpose in life. One day, a friend of mine said, "You would be a great real estate agent." So I was like, okay, I don't even know what a real estate agent does, but let's do it. So I took the class, did the test, and got my real estate license. So we moved, like I said, across the country. We settled on Whidbey Island, and I was in a new community. I didn't know anybody. We had no family here. We had no friends here. So I really started from scratch. I started my career at little boutique brokerage, and it helped me get the basic skills. And then I moved into a little bit bigger of a brokerage, but where I was, there was no mentorship, there was no training. And so I just always felt like I was treading water. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know where to start. How do you find clients? How do you build this business and make it successful? And in 2018, I was introduced to Carl Nutt, and he owned at the time the John L. Scott Mukilteo office. And I decided at that point in my life, I needed to just take the leap. I needed to find a permanent spot, and I needed to either run with this real estate thing or let it go. And so in 2018, I did a lot of soul searching. So I went through another kind of self-reflection. So I wanted more, and I knew that the only way to do it was to go all in and to stop listening to the stories from those around me. Sorry, this is a little bit emotional for me. I didn't think it would be. I was told that I was never going to make it. And because I was in a new community, and I had that belief that I wasn't going to make it, and I started really going in and putting in the work in improving myself and my belief system. And I found this quote by Maya Angelou: "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. And in fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so that you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it." So I went through, like I said, some soul searching, and I went to an immersion, my first women's immersion in Southern California, and that's what these pictures are from. I learned a lot about myself when I came home, and I was all in to make this work. And once I got home, that year was interesting. I was introduced, actually not introduced, my friend, who is also my lender partner on Whidbey. She had called me up. I didn't even know who she was, and she asked me to go to coffee after I'd gotten home from this event. And we started this journey kind of together. She had lived on Whidbey for some time, but didn't really have a lot of connections either. And so we started really working our business in a community-based mind. So I started with really small goals, and they turned into more relationships, and more relationships turned into more referrals. So I didn't have an office on Whitby. And I think at the time it was hard because they really wanted to have an office and have that community within the real estate community. But now looking back, it was a complete blessing for me. It forced me to go out into the community and use my community as my office. And because I didn't know really anyone, I started working on the people who I had who I had sold houses to, started inviting them just to go to coffee. And I started on Facebook, I started targeting people that I knew a lot of people. And I would, start following them on Facebook and commenting, and created an online relationship with them, and then would invite them for coffee. And I went in with the intention of having a relationship, not necessarily the intention of gaining the business. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, but what I was doing is I'd get there, we'd have conversation, I'd listen to them, they'd ask me about what I was doing. And in turn, I would just naturally start talking about real estate, and people are curious, and the people that I was meeting with started referring me. I started cultivating these relationships, and my goal was a minimum of 2 coffee dates a week, and then 1 sort of happy hour somewhere. One thing that I learned in doing that is your relationships with the people in your restaurants, and the people who serve your drinks or bring you coffee, they touch hundreds of people a day. And those people have been really strong advocates for me over the years. I make sure I say hello when I get there. I'm always kind and friendly. They always ask me what I'm doing. So there's always some sort of touch point with real estate. On holidays, I bring them all gifts everywhere, every restaurant or coffee shop that we frequent. We bring them gifts for the holidays. We invite them to client appreciation events. When we do the pie event, we always drop pies off at the restaurants for them. And everything's subtly branded with my information on it. But I gain a lot of referrals through doing that. So cultivating relationships with people who knew a lot of people, community business owners and coworkers. And I started volunteering in my community and sponsoring events. So we're a small community. And there was a lot of intimidation at the time because real estate agents over there didn't like outsiders. And I was, out of towners. And I was, even though they knew I lived on the island, there was still some contention or unwillingness to create that community with me. And I persevered every deal I did. I thanked them. I was kind and courteous. I tried my best to be the most professional that I could be in every situation. And in doing that, you never know where your business is going to come from. And I always say, you just never know. For example, last year, I actually was at this trunk or treat where, with the Cookie Monster. And I got this text message from a woman who was a realtor in our community. And she asked if we could get together. And she wanted to talk to me about potentially selling their home. I didn't know, but she had hung her license and wasn't practicing anymore. So I wasn't really sure at the time what was going on, but I met with them. We listed their property and we're currently on the market. And it's $1 million deal that we had created a relationship over the years that she felt comfortable enough and thought I was more professional and more equipped to sell her home than the other realtors that she had interviewed. So creating those relationships with other real estate agents is really, really important. Now I can say that I have a great relationship with everybody. I think people are starting to realize that just because our name may be from Muckelty or Bothell or wherever it is, we all have to work together as a community. So I feel really strongly that I'm accepted now in this community, and I built the respect. It was really hard. Some days it was like you're getting knocked down, But now I can look back and know that these other real estate agents really respect me for what I do. For me, it's really important to create community and just be out there in the face of everything. What started one night at the Thirsty Crab, it's in Clinton. It's a little brewery. We were there one night with some friends doing trivia, and our chamber was wondering what were we going to do for Halloween. We always held the trunk or treat at the community center, never really had a whole lot of turnout. And I was like, guys, why don't we use the Thirsty Crab? I mean, come on, you have the huge parking lot down below. Not only are we bringing all our businesses together, but you have the kids come through, the parents get entertainment, and this little brewery that, I mean, it does okay, but it's provided an opportunity for them. We've done it 2 years in a row now. And that night of Halloween, they're packed. They have so many people in there, they're just packed. And it's a great event, community event. Jen joined us this year. I think she stole the show with her her Halloween display. She did a really good job on her trunk or treat, but it also gets us involved in the community. And now with the chamber, I actually was approached this week to help work with the Easter egg hunt and kind of help get that going. And I think we may actually be changing the direction on where that's going. But it feels good to be part of my community and to have people come to me and ask me for their help. And after we left that chamber meeting, Tony, my wife, looked at me and she said, there were 5 real estate agents in that chamber meeting. I said, yeah, but we're all friends and we're all rooting for each other. And if somebody needs help, whoever they choose is who they choose. For me, my belief system is people are going to come to you because of what they feel you have to offer. And you're unique in a way that nobody else is. Your personality, how you help people is very unique, and you need to figure out what that looks like for each person. And it took me some time in reflection, actually, in doing this presentation. It did take me some time to figure out why people are drawn to me. So some of my other goals at the time were monthly dinner parties hosted either by myself or my friends. I went to a dinner party, was invited to a friend's house, and I did not want to go that night. And Tony's like, we are going, you committed. And I was like, oh, fine, okay, we're going. And we ended up getting there. And my friend Rachel, who I had sold them their house, her husband approached me and was like, we want to buy some acreage. We're, looking long term. Okay, sweet. And then Erica, her friend, was there, and she's like, I had sold her house. She had come to the island and helped her sell her house. And she's like, she hadn't sold her house. So she was living in Shoreline and she was there. I met her and she's like, I want to move to the island. And I was like, okay, let's get this. So we actually listed her house in Shoreline, and then I helped her buy a house in Whidbey. So that's 2 transactions, plus Rachel and Kyle's was another one. And then Katie approached me at that dinner and was like, I think I want to buy my own house. Okay. I walked out that night with 4 transactions, and I was like, this is how this works. Like, okay, I need to continue doing this. And so we've kind of kept that model up until COVID, made things a little bit more difficult, but we're starting to get back into this. This picture that you see at the top right, Mark and Jill are on the left. I don't even know how I met them, online or something, but I helped them buy their second home, which is the house we're in, having dinner at. So I helped them buy their second home. I think it's been 4 or 5 years now. They're really good friends of ours. And then you have the Fowlers in the back. And so we just sold their lake house and they moved to, I don't know, Kentucky or Arkansas or somewhere. And then Regan on the right, we were going to help her buy a house on the island, but her parents ended up getting ill. And so she ended up going back to Arizona. But these are the people I surround myself with, my past clients. And this was a dinner hosted by Mark and Jill, and we just have fun and we engage, and everybody, we just support each other. And they support me, I also we had started doing Buffini in 2018 as an office. And I feel like that really was a pivotal thing for me. It pushed my career forward. So then I learned what Pop-Bys were, and we continue to do those now. I think those are really important. I mean, who doesn't like a gift? And sometimes I get in my own head about it. I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to go to their house. I'm going to put something on their door. And what if they catch me? And what if it's weird and awkward? And I can overthink everything. And then I can't remember who it was that said it to me, but they're like, don't you love getting gifts? I was like, heck yeah, heck yeah, I do. And now I find like those are so fun for me to give out. On Valentine's Day, we went into Cozy's and gave all the wait staff Pop-Bys, and they were so excited. And we went into Would Be Donuts, and I gave all of them Pop-Bys, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're amazing! You're so nice!" I got so many hugs. And one of the wait staff, which I assumed she knew what I did, she's like, "You're a real estate agent?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, okay, we need to talk." So you never know where those are going to come, when those referrals are going to come. So cards and birthday cards, holidays, and special occasions. So I try to, like we had a client friend of ours whose son ended up joining the Navy. And so as a congratulations, I sent a little Navy pin, found a little Navy pin and sent it in the mail and just congratulated, because I knew that was a big thing for them. Just personally, I knew that, but also, it's a proud moment, your kid's going off, and we're proud of where he was going. He graduated with our son. And then, like I said, in doing this presentation, I got to go back in my phone and in my Facebook and like look at what I was doing at the time. And I was doing a lot of video and Facebook lives. And I really think that people seeing my face was really beneficial. So I would say whenever you can get in front of people, do it. I think it's really, really important to just have them see you in any form, whether it's in person form or whether it's in human. I was going to say human form, but I'm like, that sounds weird. Whether it's physically they're seeing you or whether it's online. And I do have to say that we got a lot of help in our office with those videos and content and things like that. So it made things easier. So the COVID pivot. So at the time, our business was pretty steady. And just like everybody else, when COVID hit, it changed how we did business. People got scared. In my community, there is a lot of elderly people. So people shut it down. Like, you couldn't get into a restaurant and people were scared. There were so many real estate agents that just kind of shut down and stopped working. And so this quote, "Success is no accident. It's hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you're doing or learning to do." So I would say we were pretty successful by this point, on our way to continued growth. And mind you, our growth was not fast. And so I just have to say, you have to be patient. I think that's important to remember. Our growth was steady, and it continues to be steady growth, which tells me I'm doing something right. Some of these things that I'm doing are correct. So during COVID, Christy and I and Christy's here in the middle, down at the bottom middle. So she's my lender partner. We were like, what can we do to start helping people? How do we stay in front of our clients? And so we were like, let's buy an Easter bunny costume and let's partner with the ice cream shop, and let's do because there were no Easter events going on. So we just I bought the suit on Amazon. Tony, my wife, is the Easter bunny. We threw up this we threw up this display in front of Sprinkles in Clinton and in the parking lot. And we had said we had done drive-through. We wanted to make sure everybody knew, like, we weren't breaking any rules or anything. And that was hands down the most successful event I've ever had. So not to this day, because now all of the like other Easter egg hunts have opened. So then we ended up with that year was the most successful. We did it one more year. We had some people show up, but by then all the other Easter egg hunt things were on, and yeah. So, but I did this as a public event. put it out on every Would-Be page, and it was really emotional that day. Some people would drive by and they'd have their masks on, and the Easter Bunny would go to the car, and the kids are so excited. And then I would probably say 60% of the people parked their car, got out, hugging the Easter Bunny. Like, people wanted that human connection. And I think we really realized that was something that we needed to start incorporating into our business, was more human connection. And so we've been steadily coming out of COVID, doing a little bit more of those events where we're all together. We also did a coat drive. So we partnered with our local community center. So they help families. They help with school supplies. They help with clothing. If someone's going on a business interview, they can come into their closet and pick something out. So we partnered with them and did a coat drive, and that was really successful. So we just consistently in front of people. And if you can do public events like these, it helps because you can post them in your public forum. And it doesn't matter if 2 people show up or if 100 people show up, your face is out there and people are consistently seeing you. And a lot of the feedback I get is, I see your face everywhere. And by people seeing you, they automatically contribute that to being successful. And then they want to work with you. Yeah, they feel like they know you. It becomes a little more personal. And then we also pivoted with Pop-Bys, and we would mail them. So that year we stuffed, I mean, I think that picture is like at 5 a.m. It's still dark outside, you can see, but we were up every morning writing out Valentine's cards, stuffing envelopes with candy, and mailing them off to our clients. So we do about 100 or so Pop-Bys every Valentine's Day. It's a really easy one. And you can create cheesy sayings that people love. So, can you hear the music or can you hear me?
It was kind of mumbly a little bit. I think it was you though.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
We can.
So friendship, a lot of what's come out of all of this cultivating has become friendships. And I look at my business as creating long-term friendships and relationships. So a friend is someone who stands by you when you encounter difficult situations and is always there to celebrate your achievements. So what I've learned so far in my career, if you care about your clients, they will support you and your business any way they can. So I put this video in here and we'll play it here in a minute so that you guys can see it. This was our pie event this year, again at the Thirsty Crab. We're really trying to cultivate our relationships in Clinton. And this owner was eager to have us there doing this event. We stored our pies in their keg room. Like, we had so many pies, but they were really great to work with. And so I had some friends and they knew I was doing this pie event and they're like, how can we help? How can we help? And I was like, we're doing it a little bit bigger, a different venue this year. I'm like, if you guys just show up at this time, we'll figure it out. Okay. So we showed up and I think we had 6 or 7 of our friends show up and they're putting bows on pies and stuffing charcuterie boxes and, socializing with the other clients that are coming through. And they just show up. If you're cultivating these relationships if you want to cultivate relationships in this way, you're going to be rewarded with things like this. And then that bottom left picture, that's Kaylee and Zach, and Kalia is their daughter. I get invited to their birthday parties every year. And so I know I'm doing something right. I know that I'm making the connections that I want to with these people. And then that's Jill. She has a Bronco and we go cruise around the island in the summer with the top off. So we just have a good time. And then, like I said before, connecting with local business owners and workers can help grow your business tremendously. And then never assume that because someone knows a real estate agent, that they're going to use them. And I have to remind myself of this all the time because we do live in a small community. But here's an example. So Valentine's Day, I happened to see one of our local restaurants down in Langley is putting on this, impromptu Valentine's dinner. You have to make reservations. I hop on, email her, make the reservation. Mind you, we see each other on social media. I do see her when I go in, but I don't frequent this place very often. So she knows who I am. I know who she is. And so we have dinner. She stopped by and she kept popping in and conversing with us, which is fine, great. And then as we were walking out, she was kind of waiting by the door. And as we were walking out, she walked out real quick right behind us. And then she's like, "Oh God, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to stalk you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." She's like, I'm going to the store, but do you have a minute? And I was like, "Yeah." And she started talking to me about real estate. And she disclosed to me that that her and her husband were getting a divorce and she needed help finding somewhere to live. And it's an amicable divorce, she said. So what makes this stand out to me is literally 3 doors down, there's a Windermere office. 1 street forward, there's a John Scott office. She's surrounded by real estate agents. And I don't spend a lot of time in Langley because there's a lot of tourists. When you're a local, you don't always go into the touristy spots. So we go in the off season a lot. But it struck me that out of everybody that she could have asked, she asked me. And I showed up in a way to her that must have been genuine and caring enough for her to open up to me about her personal life and ask me for help. So sometimes I feel like I overshare and I'm vulnerable about things, but I think that's authentically and genuinely who I am. And those people who need that from me, those are the people that I'm helping in my community. I have a special niche. I don't know why. It must be my personality, but divorcing couples really like working with me. I think 4 of my transactions last year were divorcing couples. But what makes it work well for me is I have a lot of empathy for people. I can also put boundaries for people. And I can change change the way I work with each individual. I had this one where the wife was very on it. She knew everything that was going on. She was my main contact, but the husband lived in the house and he had to sign everything in paper. He was not very computer literate. There was a lot of hand holding for him. And so being able to adapt to those situations in every client, I think is really, really important. And then that helps create your raving fans, when you're out there supporting people. And at the end of the transactions, a lot of the times with those couples, I get a lot of hugs and a lot of thank yous for helping them step into the next phase of their life. And I think that's something really important to remember is, I was thinking about this last night. You are the start and the end, the start or the end to somebody's story. Always remember that when you're stepping into a transaction, you're either helping them start a new legacy by getting them into home ownership, or maybe you're helping them buy a second home and you're starting in this new happy chapter of their life. Or in some cases, it's a dissolving of a relationship and you're helping them move on into the next chapter. So just remember, you are part of their story. And if you continue to be connected with these people over the years, you will be integrated into their story too. And for me, that's really important in building these friendships. So Jen actually made this reel for me. So I'm going to play it. That was actually somebody's husband. It's fine. It was so beautiful. So that was our pie event this year. So I wanted to share some of the goals that we have coming up in 2024 to kind of give maybe some inspiration or ideas of from what we've done and we've seen successful. So we have 3 categories that we're working on. So public community events, we're finding that we want to be more in the face of the community. This picture was actually taken at Critters & Co. They are a local pet shop, but they also just started a nonprofit and they do a lot of rescues. So Jen and myself made baskets for them for their fundraiser. So supporting our local business owners and charities in doing things like this, showing up to their events that they have. We are also working on a collaboration with our local donut shop to do a blood drive. So Tony had a really good idea. We have donuts. You go get blood or go get blood. You come out, you get a donut. I mean, it's like a reward, right? Yeah, and get your sugars back up. So we're currently working on that. Clinton Easter egg hunt. I didn't know this at the time of writing this, but I will be helping collaborate with them and getting that going. And then continuing to do the trunk or treat. And then we have Christy, my lender friend, we've been doing workshops. Sometimes we get people there, sometimes we don't. We've been trying to Zoom them also. So trying to find something in those buyer workshops. Not really sure how that's going to look this year, but we do end up doing at least 1 or 2 every year together. And then private client events. One of the things I really want to do, Kati like did this and it like blew my mind that so she rented a movie theater and invited all of her clients. What was the movie? Maverick. And she got dressed up and it was like the coolest thing. And so I really want to do something like that. We have a local little theater, if you've ever been to Whitby, it's called the Clyde, and it's really inexpensive to actually rent. So we may incorporate this. I'm thinking more Christmas, like do like a Christmas theme movie, because you can, in this theater, you can choose any movie except Disney. And then, like, you'd have a theme. Someone said Bad Santa. So we would have a theme. So whatever movie it is, but my dream is like come have popcorn and candy, dress in your pajamas, have it like a fun family event where everybody can be there. And then some sort of summer party. This is going to be our first year doing a summer like actual party. We had thoughts of doing like a barbecue, but I really want to do drag queen bingo. So we're working on trying to collaborate with 2. There's a couple of a pair of drag queens who they do drag queen bingo at the fair. And I've been to a couple of events where they come from Seattle, but they do an amazing job. It's so much fun. And then annual pie event, that seems to be something that I don't know at this point if I can like get rid of because people are expecting pies every Thanksgiving. So that's going to probably stay on there. And then ongoing investments. So monthly Pop-Bys, weekly social coffee dates and happy hours. Last night, we actually, John and Carrie, we invited them to come with us with some of our friends and did trivia, just supporting our local community and then cultivating agent to agent relationships. Like I said, you never know where that referral is going to come from. Sometimes agents, I had a call yesterday from an agent who needed help with pricing, and I really look up to her and respect her so much. And she called me and I felt really honored that she called and talked to me about those things. It shows that I'm doing something right. So this is going to be fun. I don't think you can hear this. So this was, so I wanted to talk a little bit about each one of these pictures. So this was at a friend's house. we did an adult Easter egg hunt. And it was so much fun. And in the eggs, there were like little, it was really inexpensive. They just put like little tags and then you counted how many you got. And then like one person won a coffee card so it doesn't have to be really expensive. It just has to be fun and engaging. And it was so much fun. And then, at the top, Sean's holding my pie and she also had gotten my magazine. So she was super excited. And then Heidi here, down on the left, she got my Valentine Pop-By and she was very thankful for that. Kara down on the bottom, and this goes back to listening to your community. She has referred me. She works at the post office and she has referred me, and one of the listings I did end up getting, but I know she throws my name in the ring. And she had posted something, I can't remember where I'd seen it, and this was this Thanksgiving. They were really struggling for money. They have 2 little boys. Her and her husband both work. I invited her to the buy event, and we gave her, and when she left, we gave her a turkey, and we gave her, I think, a $200 gift card to Walmart. And this was her response. So you have no idea how much you just changed the holiday season. I'm bawling. Thank you so incredibly much. And so that went on Facebook also. People didn't know what I did, but it's out there giving, right? So the top right one, I debated on sharing this story or not, but I think it's a really powerful story, not just for myself but for this couple, this family. So I was referred to these people, and the person who referred me has never bought a house from me. She just throws my name out there. She grew up with this woman. And so I met with them, started showing them houses, and the wife, we were walking into the primary bedroom and she's like, "Do you know who I am?" And I was like, no. Should I know who you are? Like, and then she went on to tell me her story. So when we first moved to our community, in that very first year, there was a car full of teenagers, young adults. I think they were 21. And they decided to get in a car, and she decided to be the driver that day. She is the only survivor from that accident. And I had no idea who she was, but I knew that I was meant to be their agent because I had no idea who she was. I was unbiased to what had happened. And actually, it is such an empowering story. So she did end up going to prison. And if your kid goes to our school, and I don't know, maybe everywhere is driver's ed, and maybe a whole Washington State thing, she actually speaks. They're required to watch a video, and she actually speaks in the video about drunk driving. And she is now has degrees, and has this little family, and they own a successful business, and people have forgiven her. And in our community, there's a lot of love around her. Even the other boys' parents, they all came to her baby shower. It's really empowering. But I was able to help them get into a home, but I was chosen for them because of who I was and because I didn't have a connection. And it showed me that I didn't have to be a lifetime islander to be able to get business, right? To be able to cultivate these relationships. And I just have to tell this part of the story. So the people who were selling the house, when you, if there's any sort of lien or judgment or anything on you as a buyer, it actually gets disclosed. I'm sure most of you know this. It actually gets disclosed in the title. And because there's restitution that is being paid, it was disclosed. And the seller saw it, and the wife was actually I think she was the counselor, but it was like a church type counselor. she had been the one who was required to visit her in prison. And they had no idea. None of us knew. And when we closed, they left her this really long letter and this beautiful necklace. And it was, you never know where this journey is going to take you, but that was really a powerful thing to be a part of. So I thought that might be a little inspiring for people to hear that story. Sorry if I made anybody cry. I hope this story inspires you guys. I hope it inspires you to keep going, to not give up. I know that the market has been incredibly difficult in the last 2 years, especially last year. It's hard to pivot. It's hard to change sometimes, but this career is extremely rewarding. And I'm really blessed to be a part of my community and to be a part of my community's people's lives. I love getting invites to go to things. And I just love being part of my community. And I hope that you guys can make more connections and don't give up. If it's hard, don't give up. Keep going. I promise it will be worth it.